Hello and welcome to today's Tea with Davina. I'm Davina. Thanks for listening. I want to talk about Russia and the way Donald Trump and co, the various MAGA affiliated people, tried to disparage all of the points of evidence that Trump was beholden to Putin and the KGB in general, Russian establishment, as well as being beholden to a bunch of other authoritarian aspiring regimes in Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, etc. People who were happy to pay money for a purchasable president. That's what he should be called, a purchasable ex-president. He's not a current president. He's even admitted recently that, yes, he narrowly lost the 2020 election because, yes, whilst he lost the popular vote by close to 8 million votes, the Electoral College vote was relatively narrowly won by Joe Biden because, he won in a number of different states. So some people say it's approximately 80,000, the margin total of votes in battleground states that pushed him into victorious territory, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. But there was also Georgia and Arizona. So probably really more than 80,000 votes in total gave Joe Biden the victory. The point is, it requires a substantial popular vote win when the electorate is more divided from reality. I'm not going to say divided from each other because polarization happens all the time, but 30% of the electorate is heavily divided from reality because of Donald Trump's willingness to barefaced lie to people and thereby untether them from a set of generally agreed upon facts, because people who trust Donald Trump lose the ability to relate to reality anymore. So let's look at these new points that people are making about Russia, because yesterday the Department of Justice indicted 2 Russians who had forked over $10 million to create a front company to pay right-wing Trump supporters like Tim Pool and Benny Johnson, a heap of money, 4 podcasts a week for a monthly fee of $400,000 for each of them and a $100,000 signing bonus, I think, for Benny Johnson, one of the two. There were 6 commentators in total, right-wing commentators employed by Tenant, the front company for Russians with $10 million from Putin. And they're peddling what are now trying to say, well, we didn't know we're the victims in this. We just organically thought it was cool to be paid $400,000 a month by some mysterious benefactor called Eric Grigorian to give this parent company money, which they then gave us $400,000 a month each, to spout BS about a U.S. ally, Ukraine, a sovereign nation that was viciously and brutally invaded by Russia and continues to be viciously and brutally invaded by Russia. Russia that directs its army to fire missiles into children's hospitals and highly civilian targets such as theaters and shopping centers. They were denouncing Ukraine as being somehow the embodiment of all evil, whereas Russia would be innocent of all that. So in an effort to decry the obvious way in which they've been exposed as sellouts, they were like, oh, what did Tim Pool say? Something like, Putin sucks donkeys' balls. So I hope that's not too offensive to anyone. I've got to go. I'm going to quickly play this clip of the insurrection, which is because Donald Trump doesn't respect America or American citizens. He directed his supporters packed up into a state of most religious fervor through the combination of appeals to religious fanaticism, appeals to Christian nationalism, to say attack on the Capitol or Jesus will be defiled. Trump is Jesus's handyman, chosen savior, etc. Look at these people attacking police officers. There is no back the blue in any genuine sense from Trump or his supporters. There's no genuineness to it at all. It's all about self-advancement and ego gratification from people who will posture being strong, people who will prioritize and protect their gun collections over the actual lives of children, as we've seen by their support for the NRA and gun manufacturers, which still promote gun purchasing, even though states that have gun law laxity and have fewer regulations for gun purchase and gun storage and gun ownership have higher rates of police being shot whilst on duty, domestic abuse turning into murder. Gun-facilitated violence is a problem when you regulate guns less than cars. Cars at least have more utilitarian value. Guns can be used to kill people or to feel you can deter violence, when really what often happens to those people who store huge collections of guns, who purchase AK, AR-15s, is that somebody in their own family might be tempted to use violence against themselves or a family member, or that somebody breaking into your home to steal your valuable, highly transportable gun collection might do so and might use your own weapons against you. In fact, that often happens to women who purchase firearms. They're more likely than other people to be victims of homicidal attacks because their own guns are likely to be taken from them and used against them. So a gun is not a shortcut to physical dominance in the case of being confronted by somebody stronger than you. If they're stronger than you, they are likely to have the confidence to rip a gun out of your hands and use it against you, particularly if they're an attacker who has the element of surprise, because having hostile intent and aggressive intent is a feature of attacking someone. And so anyway, I've got to go, but hopefully I'll come back again soon. I'm going to say thanks for listening and stop the broadcast. So take care, tune in for more later. We'll look at more evidence from the Department of Justice in the indictment against the two Russians who contributed to the purchasing of right-wing influencers, bought and paid for Putin apologists who pretend they didn't know, pretended they just got magically paid $400,000 a month to produce measly 4 broadcasts a week. I do a bunch of broadcasts for free, for love of country, for love of species, for love of the planet. And I hope to God we still continue to have a democracy and leaders who lead to serve the public, not to enrich themselves and to conceal who's paying them in through back channels, etc., and who are beholden to despots like Putin, like President Xi, like the leaders of Saudi Arabia, Egypt, even Turkey. Donald Trump has been purchased by a bunch of people, all the while making noises like a carnival barker who's adept at singing to distract you while his goons rob you blind. Cheers, bye, and go Kamala. Lead with joy. Thank you and bless you to Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate Tim Walz. Bless them and keep them. That sounds a little bit culty of me, but I'm just so grateful for the kind of leadership that has stepped up and continues to step up in a time where we need good governance. And that's always, but particularly now when the threat of fascist-style fear-mongering and large-scale grifting and exploitation of xenophobia is a real problem. Cheers. Bye. End stream.